9. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up.
It's a beautiful night sky here down in Kansas City, Kansas, here now live as we see the Green Mountain Girl Fast and Fun Truck Series regain position and regain their gravel, as they will now have to take on another 1.5 mile long track in the form of Kansas Speedway here live on PTR's TV. Hi again, everyone. I am the Crusader Christian Shriver, and I welcome you back here to PTM Racing TV. We were here just last night where we saw the Lone Star Racing charity event take place, and now the Green Mountain Girl Fast and Fun Truck Series are about to take their aim on this very unique and very tough to master kind of track. As we are now laying down the hardwood, it's time to get to the speeds and get to the sheen. It is with the number 1 qualifier. We see James the Marauder Harris in the Ford lead the charge, with the outside of him being the 15, Jason Taylor. Row 2 sees the Mullen Man, Robert Lawrence in the 5 is outside. That'll be Matthew Moniak in the number 3. Row number 3, it is Gore Snyder. The 88 is outside. Richard Fornshell in the 90. Row 4, Kevin Kersher, the 91 driver in the outside of him. Jonathan Diamond in the 39. Row number 5, Stephen Plesson will be in the 69 is outside. Tyler Meeks in the 35. Row 6, Sean the Bounty Hunter. Bounty in the 34 is outside. Zach Derrick in the number 10. Row number 6 is going, or excuse me, row number 7. Well, that's going to be, hold on a minute. There we go, row 7. Come on, producers, we haven't been doing this how long now? Row 7 is Sheldon Pearson, the 8. The outside of him, Kevin Warren, the 112. Row number 8 is the Man Beast, William Man Jr., the 29 is outside. George Young in the 48. Row number 9, Robert Wynn in the 16 is outside. Steve Clegg in the 22. Row 10 sees Daniel Half in the 32 is outside. The 89, Robert Wynn Jr. Row number 11 sees Russell Fulbore, Kilgore in the 2 is outside. Caleb Forsythe in the 76. Row number 12, the Zenny fan, Craig Danzig in the 40 is outside. Randall Falks in the 24. Your final starters in this one. We'll see. Row number 13, Nathan Meyer in the number 1 is outside. Jacob Givens in the 20. Row 14, Christian Wilcox, the 53, and it is outside. Charles Whitehead, the 51. Final starters in the 15, Randy Coughlin, the 31 is outside. Adam Scrum, the 95, and race fans. You hear the motors come to life. You hear the drivers bring him out onto the track. Kansas City is about to see the hard-throwing, action-packed mess that these drivers bring to the table, presented in part by our good friends over at Green Mountain Grills. When you need the best wood-fired pellet grills on the market, there's only one brand and name you can trust, and that is with the good friends over at Green Mountain Grills. Be sure to check them out on their website, greenmountaingrills.com, as well as their social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for Green Mountain Grills. Here we go, off the start here, down out of turn number 4. We're going to reel them off and send them on down the straightaway here. The Marauder has the start and has the call. He dictates the pace. He dictates the run. Off the green flag, here we go. Mama Beast is in the house, rooting on for the 31 Randy Coughlin, and of course the Man Beast William Mann Jr. Let's go race and have fun all. Jeffrey Lee Bell saying Lemonade Stand is here. It's always good to have my lemonade stand around here. Good to see you, everybody. Good to see some battling as well out of the gate here. Richard Fornshell already putting the Surefee number 90 down on the inside zone here, while the number 15 Jason Taylor tries to hold him back on that runoff here. Down the front straightaway here, the Malin Man. Robert Lawrence already looking to try to put the champion fire equipment number 5 to good use and trying to knock down the number 4 of the Marauder, James Harris. Harris winless right now so far this season, wants to change that as quick as possible. The only way to do that though is to go out here and defeat the biggest and the baddest. Last time out, it was a 2-mile long Michigan International Speedway where we saw maybe, perhaps our wildest, craziest, all-out insane moments of racing we have ever bear witnessed. We came in here tonight kind of thinking the same thing. Would it happen again? Will we get any more of that, or will it just be another fight and a half trying to survive and trying to claim and conquer? You remember Sean Bounty went to war with Nathan Meyer on the last restart here when he went around 3 of the other guys. Fornshell was a part of that group that got caught up in the 4-wide salute train. He did not get away with it there. He would end up finding himself in the shadow realm that night. But he told me earlier today that now that we're under the night skies, we're hoping to make things work a little bit better in our favor, and hopefully with the time of day being under night, instead of having to be up in the high weather, that maybe it might be a little bit of an advantage to keep the tires more cooled under the pressure. The I Love Mac and Cheese, number 3, Matthew Moniak, already up on the binders, trying to make something work around the Marauder. James Harris will go on board with him. Having to pace his way around these corners there, they keep himself under control. Each turn he goes, every which way to Sunday. These are driving on the open setups tonight. These are now fixed setup trucks. So that can either mean 2 things. Number 1, it could mean for really interesting racing and multiple grooves and lines for these drivers to hit. Or it could mean that we have a differences in short-term versus long-term strategy being put to good use. Either way, I think we're going to have some impressive racing, to say the least, throughout this event tonight. Fired him off into a 3-wide salute down on the front straightaway here right now. As you can see, the number 39 of John the Diamond getting up there with Garth Snyder in the 88, while the 91 of Kevin Gashur kind of backs off a little bit, trying to keep his truck somewhat in one piece. Remember, he told us earlier, he said that he did not want to damage up too much equipment. He said he wanted to keep it somewhat relevant and clean tonight. He knows how difficult it could be. Watch flag is out already here. A little bit of problems down there for Robert Wynn and Charles Whitehead. Randy Coughlin involved as well. So a little problematic zone out of the gate. We'll take a look at the PTM instant replay and take a look at this one. And it looks like already a little bit of madness around this part of the track. Robert Wynn having a little problem here. It looks like that little blink cost Caleb Forsythe. That's one thing you don't want to do, is end up on that realm and on that end. And it looks like even Charles Whitehead, oh boy, took a lick and a half there. I'm not sure who he got out of that one. I think he might have hit Randy Coughlin in there. Look like maybe just a little absurd, aggressive driving, trying to get around him, not realizing people were on the brakes. Once you see a truck wreck, usually try to back off. Yep, that's what happened. You see Whitehead was trying to back out and get it away from Coughlin. Unfortunately, did not go that way in this particular spot. That would halt our drivers down just a little bit, get everyone restructured and centered off yet again. We'll take it down now and talk with our drivers here and have a little listen in from their perspective and how they're doing here tonight. We're going to start off here tonight with, looks like maybe the 22 is Steve Clegg up on the call list here. We'll see if he is ready to join us. He's usually hanging around here somewhere. And looks like, yep, got him ready to go here. So let's head it down now. Let's talk Shake and Bake Racing. This is the number 22, Steve Clegg. Clegg, how are you tonight, sir?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Looks like a little bit of a different look on your end here. From my perspective, I thought originally you were trying to do like a Power Ranger style with that one. Is that the Gold Ranger or the Yellow Ranger? What's going on with this here?
Oh, it's Wonder Bread. Keep Bobby.
Oh, fair enough there. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So
we tried our best.
Yep, so obviously you're going on the open setups here tonight, but really I'm going to ask you this here. What was kind of a big thing you're looking towards on the distance you wanted to travel here with this truck and the way it's played out? Because you guys had short and long runs all season long, so I mean, if anything, what's it all going to boil down to?
Well, I always feel like I'm good at saving tires, so a nice long run would be nice. I was starting to gain on guys in front of me, so I think we'll be all set. It's a good setup.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, we do appreciate you coming on board here tonight, Clegg. Let's see if you can put a little Wonder Bread action on this track tonight.
All right, thanks.
Gotta love. Says a little wonder there. I honestly kind of wonder how he is able to keep that car in one piece sometimes, or that truck in one piece. He's had either good luck or bad luck when he comes out on the circuit, but hopefully that doesn't end up being the bad luck here today. Take it down now, talk with Olsen Performance, ladies and gentlemen. Now joining me in is Garth Snyder in the 88, and Garth, right out of the gate, had some pretty good run and good speed it seems, but it's still very early. But how are you feeling so far?
Got a great setup. Just gonna have to be consistent and save tires, and hope to be up there front at the end.
For sure there. So I'm gonna say this real quick as well. Really, if you're going to try to keep the tires consistent and you're trying to keep this thing online all the time, what's the one thing you really have to stay focused on to make sure that that works like that?
Just working on your entry, backing up your entry once the tires wear off. That way you're not burning up the right front.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, anybody want to thank us well before we get you right back on the green flag?
I just want to thank my family and everybody for watching, and you guys for putting a show for us. Oh, getting yelled at.
Getting yelled at. Let's get you back in there then, all right?
All right, thanks, bud.
Ladies and gentlemen, Garth Snyder in the 88 here. Don't want to get him yelled at too much here. The drivers want to get back onto the green flag restart here eventually. So you see the lights spaced off on here and everything ticking down now. Let's see what happens here. Here we go now, back onto the green flag restart zone. We are off and running for the Green Mountain Grills Fast Front Truck Series once more. And out of the gate, Matthew Moniak and Richard Fornshell with Jason Taylor getting a real hard start to catch up there with the Marauder, James Harris. Taylor getting a great key spot up and getting some serious momentum building his way. That's exactly what he wants to see and what he needs to see in order to really hang in there with these drivers tonight. He knows that it's going to be extremely tough to work around the fast and the baddest here, especially knowing what lies ahead of him. right down onto the corner zone. We saw Scar Snyder just a minute ago. He's going to fight it out with Diamond as he gets his top 5 spot back in. Kevin Kersher marching the field and maintaining distance, managing himself pretty smoothly and under control here. Maybe looking at trying to get a few spots up on these guys, maybe make some maneuvers around each corner as they go. George Young, the 48 machine from the NPR crew. Well, there's no surprise out here so far tonight. Been pretty much kind of staying still at it himself and just kind of looking for every little area he can. He's got Zach Derrick right up ahead of him though. Looks like a little bit of a workaround here with Kevin Ward. I guess he decided to switch out and go with the NPR colors tonight here. I know those are not generally that you usually see from him, but I guess he wanted to show a little solidarity and kind of work with the crew a little bit. Nathan Meyer, last week's feature winner here, already found himself a little bit of a hot spot here. He's already way behind the field. So is the Zany fan Craig Janzik. And the Mola man Robert Lawrence even in that spot too. Now Robert, I'm a little surprised considering that he was literally up front with the pack here just a little while ago. Not sure, maybe if he found himself in a bit of a bad spot or a bad angle, had to back her down to get out of trouble zone, but that's not usually what you see from a caliber like his. And for the Sandy fam, maybe a little bit of a hardship coming off of turn 4 from Michigan last week, but this one certainly was not what you've expected there from the 40s. Janzik gets sent for a ride on the front straightaway. Oh my. We'll take a look at the P10 replay, and this one is a little bit of a shocker. I was not expecting this at all, especially from his caliber. He usually avoids all the carnage and the wrecks pretty quickly and easily. I wouldn't say it's anything karma-wise from Michigan, but I mean, the racing gods have a way of making things work out sometimes, but here's what happened. Yeah, that definitely looked like the racing gods worked. There was no contact made until, unfortunately, the gods decided to just pull the hand of the wheel and just send it straight to the right. And Robert Wynn Jr. got all that and then some, and I don't think he realized what had happened until it's too little too late. What a tough break there for the Zany fam. James looks going to have a little bit of work to do. Down, on to the call list we go. I think you guys know who we're bringing in. We're going to bring him in now. Here it is, the man beast, William Mann Jr.
How's it going, big guy?
Big guy's in the house, my friend. You, my friend, as well, know a thing or two about Kansas. This was the track you've had multiple very, very close finishes on. And I think you know what I'm going to say next, but
I'll be getting fuel, so yeah, I have an idea. The old memory bank, it stays. That's the big one that got away, you know? It was like my first love.
Your first love, but nevertheless, I mean, we'll let you get in pit road first.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, now he's good to go. So, obviously, I know that was kind of a bit of a deal there for you and a bit of a tragic heartbreaker there for you, but now you're coming into tonight. It looks to me like really it could go either way for you and the crew. What is it going to play down to, though, for you to get to the win?
Man, I gotta find a little bit better speed. I made a couple adjustments on the truck coming in. Seems like I didn't have anything good on the straightaway, but that first start was kind of, and I lost the group on the first one. The second one I didn't get time, but it seems like I got good long run speed still. Some of these guys looked like they were starting to walk back to us before the caution came out. So.
Well, we surely know. I was about to say, well, that's what I was going to say. We certainly know what kind of speed you can do on the very long runs, so who knows, that might be all you need tonight. But nevertheless, for Certain Speed Motorsports, it is good to have you back on board here.
Yeah, sounds good. How's the truck look tonight, man?
At least it looks somewhat intact. It looks pretty good, I will say.
Well, the paint job, I paid my paint guy, so I'm good now, you know.
I'm glad you finally paid him the money there. I thought man's maintenance would have paid a lot more than that, but all right.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you.
Good to hear you, brother. The Man Beast, William Man Jr., everybody. Picking to move it up a little bit of position right now. Nathan Meyer with Obelson Performance now. He joins us in here. Last week, where Meyer, you end up coming away with a big W and a victory, but now you find yourself in the invigorous task of having to move the chains and move up the ladder with as many guys you have tonight. What kind of a mentality did that bring into your mind here?
Yeah, man, I was excited at the beginning, start in the back, pass some cars, have some fun back here. But right before the race started, my wheel, when I was taken over by a demon, turned hard right, and I smacked the wall, so I had to use a fast repair already. So we're living dangerously today.
Living dangerously indeed, but obviously I know kind of represented a little bit dangerously because you gotta keep it loose, gotta keep it real when you got those DuPont colors on your skin and on the track.
Oh yeah, man, we gotta keep it loose and fast.
Loose and fast. That's the way to do it. Fast and fun, loose and fast, loose and fun. How about that?
Yes, sir.
Anyway, Nathan, appreciate you coming on board here tonight. Thanks for your time, sir.
Thanks, man.
Nathan Meyer right now trying to hold up the Monarch for the Olsen Performance crew right now because there's their usual guy that's in that place, Craig Zaney from Janzik, is going to be put back a few spots here in this case. So from the pit road wise, we're going to lose the Marauder. James Harris into the back here. Matthew Moniak, Fisher Ford, Shell Tyler Meeks will move into their place in their positions, which now sets up for our next round of racing here. Eli, the Wild Child, now joins us, and he's saying it's painted. Well, yep, that's right, Eli. It took the Man Beast a little bit of time to get that thing painted to make sure that it was actually paid the bill. You gotta pay the piper around here, then, my friends. Or is it, well, we can't call it pay the piper on iRacing. What do we call it then? Pay the painter? Pay the painter. That's our new logo here. That's the new slogan. Pay the painter. If you don't have your car, if your car is all white, we're gonna put on there pay the painter. So drivers will move their way around the track, give themselves a little bit of breathing room and some time to focus on what's gonna be their biggest opportunity, their biggest get. Every strategy is different on these parts of town and every part of this track here. Remember, there's a middle, there's a bottom, and there's an outside line. This is a multi-groove level track, and it can make for some of the most insane racing that graces on our show on Pete's Race TV. Well, we get some of that here and again. We're about to find out as a green flag now charges back up. Matthew Moniak lines them off, firing down in the corner. We're underway. And Eli, if you come in the booth later, just feel free to give me a quick heads up there. You know how to do it. Tyler Meeks in the Camping World 35. Great restart for him and the crew. Now puts it right up there with the number 3, Matthew Moniak. Now Moniak, we know him all around here. He is a tough, tough cat when it comes to trying to hold back the field and hold back the charges. He certainly play into the best of intentions and really test even the best of drivers. But as he holds that down to 35 of Meeks, there lies a bounty hunter in play. Here comes Sean Bounty. Sean Bounty is moving the chains up here, moving through the field. He's up 8 spots at the moment, so is Meeks 8 as well. 9 for Kevin Ward in that 112, and the Mullen man Robert Lawrence, despite his little problems he had earlier, he's back into the fight, into the fray here, and back into the frying pan. 3 wide for the Marauder, James Harris. Him and Zach there are going to have a little bit of a tussle, a little go around here. I think that was exactly what he wanted to do. Using the bottom lane as a bit of a grip area, and a little bit of a way to shorten the track out. It can work very well, but at the same time, it can be a very instrumental part and really give yourself some trouble here on this track. You got to be careful there. Down across the front edge here, the front straightaways now. Caleb Forsythe and Steady 6 side by side with the Marauder and the Mullen man right now in between, trying to put NPR back on the roadmap for a victory lane celebration. They haven't done it in quite some time here, but neither has Kevin Ward. Look at Kevin Ward, though. 10 spots up for the 112, and the Ford F-150 is now putting some power into that hood. Have some respect for Ward tonight. He is coming. He's charging hard. But so is the Marauder. He's right behind the pace. Got back on the track. Meeks on the outside looking for a hold up. No, that's him. We're gonna have a caution. Caution flag is out again. Looks like Jonathan Diamond and possibly Russ Kilgore involved. Both drivers coming to a bit of a standstill, and just when things were just about to ramp up and get interesting here, the old dirty yellow flag pops its ugly head back out on the track. That's not what we wanted to see. Here's a look at the P2 instant replay here. Let's see what happens going on down on this playing field. Looks like George Young got into the wall protection, smack dab in there. He got Kilgore, got Diamond, Clegg, and it looks like my old broadcaster curse is still working pretty good on Steve Clegg down there. That's a darn shame, though. That is definitely not what you want to see. Here's another look at it from our blimp cam here. See George, he just got a little too close for comfort. Kind of found himself in a little bit of a rough edge and a rough spot. And that's not exactly an area you want to get yourself into, because that's no man's land. Once you get into that wall, getting off it's easier said than done. And you just found out why that is right there. Well, we heard earlier on about a little lemonade stand being put on the track. Well, there is a lemonade stand down there, and it just so happens to be that 69 of Stephen Pless. Now what happens when I get a little thirsty around here, besides putting in some vodka into it? I go ahead and I'd go and see if maybe our good friends Mr. Pless has some lemonade for us. So let's listen in. Let's see if he's got something sweet to tell us. He now joins me in right here with the number 69. It is Stephen Pless. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right myself. Well, I was just talking about this a minute ago. I thought maybe you might have a little bit of lemonade stand for us here to talk about.
Oh yeah, we got a fast truck. We got a rocket ship tonight. Got a little trouble on pit road, speeding penalty, but we're trying to bring it back to the front and have a little fun tonight.
Little speeding penalty never did anything to you other than just give you a little bit more confidence to build some speed back up. How tough though would you say it is right now for in the crew to kind of stay in this playing field?
It's definitely tough. Definitely some hard racing. I do feel like we have a good truck, all over the track, high low, line doesn't matter. So I think this is probably the best shot that I've had so far this season.
Well, we certainly hope to see you possibly get that best shot and chance here on the show, but we'll see what goes down to the very end. Best of luck down there.
Thank you.
Stephen Pless here, the number 69, having a little time to talk with us here. We'll head it back up here and say how our other drivers are doing right now. Let's take a look down and maybe a little bit of the back of the pack, see if someone may be able to run through the field, run the chains in. Of course, I am talking about in the 18th spot right now. That is the number 95, Adam Scrum. Adam, right now, man, it's been pretty much a get and go for you tonight. You had to start in the very outhouse of the White to get to the White House, but right at this moment, it seems like the truck is holding up.
Yeah, it's definitely been a night here. Just kind of got caught up in that last caution there and had to take my fast repair, so hopefully clean rest of the race here.
So sure there. So I know you have at least one or two down there. How much do those instant repairs kind of be a saving grace for you and your crew when it comes to those kind of wrecks for you?
Yeah, it just gives you that extra protection there. Be a little bit more aggressive there on the track until you've used it. So now just have to be a little bit more cautious here as I make my way through the field.
You certainly do indeed, but nevertheless here, obviously it's great to have you back on board and good to hear from you. We'll see maybe if you got something coming down here for later on with the 3Y Motorsports crew.
Awesome, thanks, man.
The Mobile 1, number 95, Adam Scrum, coming on board to talk with us here. Race fans, we're just about ready to kick things back up a notch, back into field play. On the race at the Marauder, James Harris will have the gun and have the field day position, but Caleb Forsythe will also be in it. Which one of these drivers will be able to take this one to the very end and finish this race out? Find out when we return. Tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by our good friends over at Green Mountain Grills. When you guys need the best wood-fired pellet grills on the market, there is only one branded name that we trust in, and that is with the Green Mountain Grills. Be sure to visit them up on their website at greenmountaingrills.com, as well as visit up their social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to check out the latest on local deals that Green Mountain Grills offers and presents to you. A big thank you to the Green Mountain Grills and the Fast and Fun Truck Series for allowing us to come on out here as well tonight. be able to broadcast this race in its entirety. The whole season, again, will be broadcasted under our banner, under our name. So be sure to like and follow us up here on Facebook, as well as head over our YouTube, subscribe there if you got some friends that may not be able to see the race in its entirety. It does give us a lot of help and a lot of ways we can make things a little easier for us to kind of keep building and growing. And that's what we're always about, what we're always trying to figure out on the track, no matter where we go. Brad Thacker coming on board saying MPR. Now I'm a little worried, because I know when Thacker comes on, usually he's got some kind of special plan with me. I'm a little nervous here. Some producers, make sure my firewall's ready. I might need it later. Here we go. We're going back to the green flag, back under the restart. Well, I'm not really going to say what's surprising or what's not surprising about this one. We already knew that restart was pretty much going to be set in stone for one of these drivers, but right at the moment here on the back end, does anything Greg Janzik is literally making the track work in his favor once again. He's using pit strategies and pit lanes to all that he's encompassing, trying to move the chains in. George Young parks it down on the back straightaway. Trouble for the 48. No caution thrown. They will let him keep going. George Young, the 88 machine, moving up the chains, up on the side-by-side there with Jason Taylor just for a brief fleeting moment. Both guys trying to hammer down, make everything work as best as they can. Keeping it close, keeping it real. The 88 of Garth Snyder not letting him get himself into a bad spot or into a bad lane. He's just staying right in the playing field. Janzik coming up fast, coming up quick. You could say he's having a little bit of a fast and fun moment down there. The man-based William Mann Jr. may be finding some of that speed, long-term run, and long-term use that he's been after. You heard him say earlier, he needs to find it sooner rather than later if he wants to survive out here and if he wants to win. Down on the inside zone, though, it is the 15 of Jason Taylor holding him back and holding down the fort. Speeds billowing in around the 190s right now. These guys, again, they're driving trucks that are over a ton in weight, and yet they are still able to aerodynamically build up speeds over the 190 mile per hour limit. Times looking right at about 31.07. That was the fastest time so far for Harris. About 30.87 by the Mullen Man. Robert Lawrence is the fastest tonight so far. And it makes you kind of wonder too, you know, okay, wait a minute, why is he so fast, but yet he's so inconsistent? Why can't he hang in there? You got to remember something. When you're trying to drive over 100 laps on a track with only the amount of fuel you're given, you can't just make that truck go as fast as you want every lap, every spot around. It's not like Talladega or Daytona where really it just boils down to fuel strategy. No. This is actually where you have to be very secure and under pressure when you have so many people that are gonna knock you off a few reins, knock you off a few spots here. And this is one reason why the Mullen Man is struggling badly. Just can't get the truck to stay off the wall protection coming off of turn number 1 and 2. Opened the door up for literally 7 drivers to pass him on in there, and a huge field day for them. Not so much for him. Kevin Kershaw now taking the race lead away from the Mirage. James Harris. Harris maybe just kind of laying off, letting him be his own man for now. I guarantee you, though, he'll be keeping a very, very close eye on that long-term reign and that long-term run that Kershaw may have for him. We'll see if it works out in his favor here. The eyes tell a story. They tell everything in between of what the man beast is trying to do tonight. He's been in this position before. He's been so close so many times. He's had Cinderella stories. He's had literally he's literally been on the top of the mountain and put into the back of the pack on a multitude of levels, but tonight he felt, and he said point blank, there's no Thacker here, there are no troubles there with having to figure out how to be the best. It's a matter of just working it up to the best. Mirage James Harris, you can see right now what he's doing versus what Kevin Kushner is doing. Not being nearly as greedy on trying to take it to a certain area or a certain level. He's trying to shorten the track out, kind of make the track bend and wheel to the way he likes to run it. He doesn't want to overdrive it, overdo it, or over accentuate nothing. Just kind of keep it under settled conditions. Let the truck come to his own, come into play, and let everyone else just kind of figure out how to catch him. That's extremely smart strategizing and maneuvering for him and that crew as they go 3 wide, salute for Jacob Gibbons. Sean Bounty was able to hammer off with Kevin Ward on the inside. Bounty was on the outside lane, making everything work up there in his favor. Nicely done on the control and the extension there. Once again, he's going to continue to pound it up there. Moves ahead of Caleb Forsythe. The 76 lost a lot of ground and time there. Wasn't able to catch up with them and keep it pace and check. Stephen Pless now, the 69, going up, down low. 7-8 stand on the attack, but here comes Christian Wilcox. Oh, look out down there. Wilcox gets a little piece of the 69. And now that I said that out loud, I probably should refrain from saying that. I apologize in advance to my producers. I think that one might get edited out on YouTube. The Chick-fil-A 153 of Wilcox right now trying to keep ahead of the pace. Look at the mullet, man. He is just slicing and dicing drivers yet again. Crossover, swinging it left, swinging it right. Up to the top, to the bottom he goes. The mullet is on fire, and it's coming for them all. This is that old strategy we talked about before, which is sooner or later, once you get so tired and so annoyed about hitting things around here, getting kind of put into a bad spot, you'll literally just fire off as hard as you can if it means trying to make a move or trying to make a runoff on anybody out there. And that's exactly what the Mullet Man did there. Got a little bit too close for comfort there with Caleb Forsythe. You see just a second ago. Did not seem to hurt or really disengage him from the run. The rest of the field as well, kind of pacing their way down here right now. Randy Cawthon caught into that little wreck earlier on. Is currently up in the 24th place. 22nd here at this moment. Sheldon Pearson in the PM and Sons Chevrolet Silverado. Looking to maybe make a run off there on the 95 of Adam Scrum. Scrum trying to hold the middle lane, trying to hold the runoff for the Toyota 195 Mobile 1 of Scrum. But it is Diamond who looks to gain position. Off of 2 drivers here. It looks maybe for the daily double. Ooh. And maybe try to avoid that bashing, bumping and banging we usually see from these guys. Stephen Pless had one little hiccup there, and that was getting right up in between there with Jacob Gibbons. But thankfully for him, Gibbons was not a factor when it comes to losing speed, losing any of his momentum down there. Gibbons is losing a lot of ground time here, though, that is for certain. And the pack starting to sway off a little bit off the straights here. Looks like Harris and Kushner starting to fall off a little bit. Foreign Shell getting way behind the pack as well into this area. Tyler Meeks and Jason Taylor just completely rattling and nullifying the speed of the Man Beast, William Mann Jr. But William Mann Jr. does not take too kindly to those that try to disengage from his man's maintenance number 29. You could say he is trying to be a missionary man and open up the racing Bible. I think I found the verse. It's called Chronicles 7:8 of 10. NPR guys truly want to get on my nerves, trusting the power of speed, and the Man Beast will make a huge turn in the curve. Wait a minute, did Decker write that in here? John, you get back over here right now and tell me if you wrote that verse in there, please. I swear you better not have touched my racing Bibles. Comes digitally too, by the way. That's the way the multimedia is these days. You always got to keep a physical copy and digital copy around here. Bombing back alive here right now. Matthew Moniak now moving in closer up to the chains and into the fight zone here. A lot of guys currently been trying to battle long-term strategies and figure out if they can get that to work in their favor. Some guys have been firing off with short-term bursts as the caution flag flies on out here. Sheldon Pearson coming to a dead screeching halt. The number 8 looks like maybe just had a little bit of a problem down there. Well, take it to the PT Mr. Replay and take a look at this one here. Looks like he might have got clipped in. Looks like he got slightly clipped there. Kind of came off around the 10 of Zach Jarrett. Couldn't get out of there in time. Stephen Pless gets into him. Looked like he's trying to save it, but it did not play into that way that he was hoping for, and that's really a tough break. Let's go to the onboard camera here, and then we can get a better perspective of this. You see that gap cuts in close. Derek gets into the wall. Thought he got out of there, but wasn't quite there. Gets into Pless. Thinks he was straight, and the next thing you know, truck was damaged up and couldn't really find any other way around it. Did use a fast repair down there though, which these drivers only get one, so be aware of that. It's time to take it to our call list here in just a moment. Nathan Meyer will opt to stay out. Looks like maybe he might stay out just one more lap. Wants to get a little more edge on the tires, maybe let our fuel run here. That might be his strategy. I don't blame him if he does. Looks like they will let Forsythe go around him, and, or excuse me, I believe that was Kevin. Well, no, it wasn't Kevin Ware. I think that might have been. I don't know who that was. I couldn't really see him from that angle there. Well, take it back down now. Let's have a little chit chat with our guys here. Let's go ahead and bring back in Shake and Bake Racing. Let's go ahead and hear from the number 15. That is, of course, Jason Taylor now on the line. And Jason, here today, right now, you pretty much have had a solid top 5 truck all day long. But I got a feeling that you probably were looking for a little bit more than just a top 5.
Hey, we got a good piece tonight. This thing's been fast as soon as we started. That was the longest run we had, and started getting a little tight. Made a quick adjustment, so hopefully that fixed it. But yeah, I think we got something we can work with here. Maybe we can get a win out of this thing.
Now, when you're talking about a quick adjustment here, what would that refrain to? Because I know a lot of fans at home don't understand really with the open setups what you can truly do when you're in this kind of level playing field.
Well, this is an open setup race, so we can pretty much adjust track bar, tire pressures, spring a little bit. So I did a little bit with grill tape. I took some off earlier and it's cooling off, so I added some back. Helped plant the nose a little bit, made a little air pressure adjustment there. So hopefully that'll get me what I need to be able to be a little faster here if we get a long run again.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Jason, appreciate you coming on board here today. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right, man. Thank you.
From Shake and Bake Racing, ladies and gentlemen, the number 15, that is Jason Taylor. Let's take it down now and talk with also one of our other guys here. We're going to go ahead and stay with the Oval Sim Performance crew. Let's have a listen in with the 35. Tyler Meeks now joins us in. Camping World's 35 machine. And Tyler, you once again have proven that you can hang with the best and the top guys, being up in that top 5 half.
Yeah, we're learning. We've been working on the set all week, supplied by the one and only Craig. He's doing really good with these setups he's given to us, and we're just trying to see what we can do with them.
You certainly have indeed. Now I know a lot of real transformation and work has been put in for you and your crew to keep up with these guys in the distance and times, but you know, tonight this has been a seemingly long run situation. How tight was the truck getting in your mind? Because we've heard earlier some are getting tight, some are getting loose.
Getting tight as our run goes. I made some tweaks to try to loosen it up for the long run, some pressure adjustments and some track bar adjustments. So we're going to see if I've been going the right way or the wrong way here on this next little stint if we don't have a caution.
We'll have to find out indeed here, but nevertheless, appreciate your time here, sir.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Tyler Meeks, Camping World's number 35, going to try to pull this one out of the rabbit hole and back up into the spot. On the restart here, once again, we're going to see the Marauder and Kevin Krasher go at it. So Harris right now has been pretty much solid state, solid control. I told him earlier that I'd leave him alone unless he goes to the back, because apparently last time there was a reverse curse that I put on him. Somehow if you start worse in the back, you move up to the front. How did that work? I have no idea, but it seems to go all right. Mama B saying, come on, Randy Cawthon, doing good right now in 31, and saying, have fun there, man, Beast in the 29. Back to the restart zone we go here. Fields will hop, hammer down, look for more gain in ground, and look to see if that long run setup will come into play once again. 50 laps are past halfway here, so now it's really going to boil down to how many laps can you put onto the truck before you really got to start thinking about heading to pit road. Sean Bounty, the Zenoa 34 up top, hangs there while the Zenifan Jantic just kind of bolsters on by. Jantic caught up earlier in a little bit of a wreck here coming off turn 4 with when the racing gods pretty much took his right rear tire away and pretty much threw it right into Robert Wynn Jr. Matthew Moniak here moving up quickly, moving up fast, but he's also got a little bit of company behind him in the Man Beast and the Zany fam. Every which way to Sunday, really, it seems like those starts are what make or break it for these guys and make them really hang in there. It's one thing I absolutely love about this kind of track and this kind of layout is those starts and those way they run them off and come up quickly. It definitely makes for some interesting racing, but I will say, as a broadcaster, I've learned, and as a fan, I've learned to respect those that have figured out how to do the very, very long run essence where it seems like someone gets out to a strong start, but they cannot finish, and those that can finish make for an incredible move or incredible pass when you least expect it. As a driver, I live for those too, but I've always been kind of more that short track mentality, so it's been kind of more difficult than anything to do here. How about this though? How about a 3 wide salute in between Richard Fornshell up top, in the middle, the Kevin Krasher in the 91, and Jason Taylor kind of hanging in there too. This is where you don't want to be as well. If you're in between that 3 wide salute, you're right behind any of that. Good luck trying to pass on a track like this. This is not a course you can get it to go on, much less try to figure our way around on. It really just completely mesmerizes. It takes control of everything and anything you see. Now I'm board here with the MPR style, the number 112 of Kevin Ward here right now. He's still up 4 spots from where he started at earlier today. And still, in my opinion, very impressive showing, considering that we have not really seen him in that upper half, that upper echelon in quite some time. He's doing a great job, though, hanging in there with us tonight. Fornshell knows he's in a bit of a rough patch here. Last week, Michigan comes in a very similar boat with him and Taylor. And even Meek's involved in there as well. But now, the shoe is on the other foot. He's currently just in a double file, single file run here. Hopefully trying to keep himself out of trouble and in place for another final end lap scenario. Matthew Moniak driven up slightly there on the 35. Uh-oh, look out down there yet again. Jantic gets right in between. The Man Beast catches a piece of him. And Jantic's momentum slowed down once again, big time here. Rear damage on the right side. On that fender, and Sean Bounty going right up top here, trying to make a move off Snyder. Into a wall, has to slow down just a little bit to get the truck to stay in play. Has to coil down a little bit, keep him out of problematic zone. 3 wide slid, drivers are coming up fast. Gotta move him in and gotta pull him up quick and make it work for everything you got, and that is for certain here. And I guess while we're kind of calling all this madness and crazy action, apparently my old friend the Wild Child decided to show his head. Wild Child, what are you up to, sir?
Just hanging out watching this exciting broadcast tonight. Looks like these boys are having some fun out there.
Ain't they indeed, my friend? They've been having a bit of a battle, a bit of a crazy rough for two, and there's some of these guys I know all too well. You and I have raced them before, and we've raced hard on these mile-and-a-half tracks, but really, for you as a driver, when you're watching these guys going out there and they're double filing up or they're tripling it in, how tough is it really to kind of keep from just saying, oh, I want to get involved in this one, or oh, I want to get up there and fight with them?
I mean, it's tough, honestly. I mean, it just kind of depends on where you're at as far as laps and how far you're into the race. You know, you got to be smart about it. You know, if you're lap 5, you don't necessarily make a move that you'll make, you know, lap 70, lap 80. You know, you definitely get a little more aggressive towards the end of it.
Well, apparently with aggressiveness comes with a 2-to-go mentality that the Marauder is having right here, because we are watching this crossover battle between him and Kevin Krasher. Crossing down, coming out of turn 3, down into turn 4, and the Marauder regains the lead yet again, but Jason Taylor falls right in place here with Richard Fornshell kind of hanging in there as well. It's kind of impressive to me, though, that the setup has been kind of keeping everyone more close together, kind of keeping them more in a pack here. Is the way the open setups here tonight designed, how many of them you think really kind of got more of a long-term versus a short-term breach? Because it seems like the short-terms, they're keeping them close, but when we saw the long-term wise, they were starting to spread out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it also kind of depends on, you know, how they're holding up the tires, and seems like James real fast on the short run. Kevin's got more of a long run setup, maybe saving his tires just a tad bit better. You know, on that last run, he was starting to pull away from James there. So I think if it's a long run, I think Kevin may have it. If it's a short run, it seems like James is pretty quick there.
Seems like indeed, Morrow, just kind of falling back here a little bit, just to kind of emphasize your point you just said a minute ago. He is losing a little bit of speed as Taylor and Fornshell are starting to kind of hammer down a little bit, although maybe Harris maybe just trying to lay off a little bit so he can save his tires, like you said a minute here as well.
Yeah, it seems definitely something he's pretty good at, saving tires and still being fast. You know, who knows what's in his head right now. You know, he's got his teammate there in front of him, so I think he's just kind of laying low here, and you know, if it goes green, he should be in a good position at the end. But like I say, Kevin seems pretty solid on the long run tonight, so I'm not sure what the difference is in their setups, but Kevin must be geared a little bit more for a long run.
Seems like it. Well, I will say, though, that we've seen Kevin Sure. It's not like he's a fish out of the water here when it comes to being up in that top half. He's had some great battles and some upper echelon fights there with the all-star races and he clashes. And he's got a few wins in not only the trucks and in Cup, but he's also got quite a few wins on the official side of things and really knows how to kind of hammer down with these guys here. So, I mean, you know him better than I do, but really kind of what exactly kind of goes through his mind when he goes out here and races you guys? Because it seems like he was always more laid back, but then there's times he just runs it in as hard as he can just to try to make a point.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's a pretty level-headed guy. Real fun to race. Comes out, has fun with us, you know, a couple times a week. And these, it was kind of his whole idea to go to the open set for, you know, half the races. I think in our Champion Power Equipment Cup Series, we've gone pretty far on the open set, a lot more than we kind of initially intended to, but we had a lot of gripe in the beginning, but a lot of guys are really starting to buy into the open sets and are really having a lot of fun with it. You know, it kind of, you know, we still got the same guys running up front, I think, but it's also bringing some other guys a little farther up front than what they were on the fixed setups.
I would say even if those are still running up front, the veterans-wise, that doesn't mean to retract the guys in the back because they always are putting on a show. This is we see right now Jonathan Diamond, Caleb Forsythe, and Craig Zanny Van Janzik, little three wide salutes in action here in between and in the middle here as well with Wilcox, Clegg, and Bounty. It seems like everyone is either kind of finding their own pack, they're finding their own little run, but at the same time, they're still just, I think they're not only just trying to put on a show for themselves, I think they're also just trying to see and test the waters on the future times here when they go to these open setups for other tracks.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I think especially with Craig. Craig was definitely anti-open sets, but I think he's starting to find his groove. I think more in Cup than in trucks. I expected him to have a little better showing tonight. Not sure what his setup is, but he's definitely nailing it in the Cup Series. You know, as we saw last week, and you know, tomorrow night at New Hampshire is an open set race, so I'm sure he'll be fast there. Hoping we put on a good a show there as the trucks did a few weeks ago.
I was about to say, maybe about a few weeks ago to about last season, the trucks, you and him at New Hampshire Speedway, from all accounts, said you had pretty much the best race of that season in its entirety. How much of a kind of aggression would you say that those Cup cars, though, are going to bring to the table, considering you've got a lot on your plate here with New Hampshire kind of coming up next?
I mean, last season in the trucks, me and Craig had a heck of a battle there at the end, and but the trucks drive totally different than the Cup cars. You know, we've been kind of working on their set all week, and they just have a little bit more power. So it's, you know, these trucks, you can just kind of put them wherever you want to go, and they stick and go. The Cup cars are handled a lot differently, and you got to really run your line. You know, stick to a solid line and find out what works best for you.
Certainly there, indeed, Bill. I'll ask you though this year, as we kind of talk about certain lines, certain angles. We haven't really we've talked about Kansas Speedway before on the fact that it's kind of a multi-groove track. It makes for a really evened out, level playing field. But why is that exactly? Like, why is a track like this compared to, like, say, Kentucky, or even if we could throw in Texas Motor Speedway? Why isn't those tracks not able to give the same results that we would see on a track like in Kansas?
Well, Kansas, Chicago, those are more big, wide open mile and a halves. As Texas is pretty tight, Kentucky's pretty tight, but these tracks almost run like Michigan in a sense, where it's wide. You can run multiple grooves. iRacing's done a real good job of getting the multiple groove setups in. And tonight it doesn't seem like the high lines really come in the way it would, as if they were running a fixed set. Seems like the high line really comes in, but with these open sets, it seems like they can still pin the bottom pretty good. And, guys aren't necessarily making a lot of ground up on the high side, but I think that's a lot of the reason this track is multi-groove. Is just it's so wide, you can run 3 wide all the way around it and still have room.
I would certainly agree there, but I think also maybe a point we were kind of forgetting too is kind of the difference maybe in also the surfaces and kind of the way the track's layout is. Now, I know we are running on the asphalt style surfaces that other tracks may build, but I've always said before, I'll say it again, there's always a shift in dynamics in the way each track is represented, each weather is represented, the patterns and everything that comes on to, the ground levels and the floors we have in motorsports and racing. Obviously more so in dirt, because obviously there, the way the dirt kind of compacts into the track makes, really makes a difference on how we're going to set the cars up for later in the long hauls. But the same really can also be kind of pinpointed towards what asphalt drivers have to go through with not only on short tracks but on these big tracks. I mean, I would say if anything, I'd say probably the way the way Kansas is and the weather and the way it's shaped in the surface is, I think it also kind of adds a little bit of a benefactor to helping out these drivers to do anything they really want when it comes to finding lines and find some angles.
Yeah, I agree. Seems though, dirt tracks, they definitely change a lot throughout say a 50 lap race. I mean, you can start the race, it'd be tacky, and by the end, 25, it's, slick. And, the asphalt tracks, they don't necessarily change a lot. Especially if you start at night and continue at night, it doesn't change a lot. But, if you start in, the middle of the day and end at night, or even sunset, where it's 90, 85-degree track temps, and then by the end of the race it's 75, 76-degree track temps. It definitely it changes there, with tightening up the track. So track like that, we definitely tend to start them a little looser, because we know as the night goes on it's going to change, and it kind of puts us ahead of the curve, I think.
When you're starting a little looser, I would presume also maybe a little bit would be based around how you set the tires up, how you set the brake biases in as well, because that we talked here before earlier on. I believe it was with Jason Taylor, who was making adjustments with the truck as he was going into the race. Felt like it was getting tighter when he got into that later half, so he had to actually make a few adjustments in the truck. Really, as you're driving on the track and you're starting to give your pit crews, your teams, like an idea of what you want to do. How much really emphasizes really what you see with how the driver's reacting versus how the track is reacting that makes the changes via how the truck is or the car would be in either condition.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just kind of, feel what we feel, and, if the truck's tightening up, we may loosen it up a little bit. Or if it's, our setup's a little loose, or if we got, 5, 6 lap run, we're obviously going to tighten it up to be able to just run, especially at Kansas, run flat out for 5 laps. And I mean, it's a multitude of things that you sometimes just try, if you don't have much testing time, or something like that. You just kind of play around with things that will maybe help you on a long run. Or it's also geared on how the race is going. If it's a short run, you're just trying to maximize speed. If it's more of a long run field, then you definitely want to try to make some changes to make it good on the long run.
And speaking of making a long run, those changes now, drivers having to avoid and evade those that are staying out from the long term versus those that went into pit road. And Let's watch right now here is Zany Fam Janzik nearly getting himself into a bit of trouble there with Dak Derrick, unfortunately. And even Charles Whitehead staying out of the way earlier on, got kind of caught up there with Randy Coughlin and some of the other guys here. But, you know, really, there's one thing I've kind of noticed here, too, is when you're trying to go a long-term run or a short-term run, when you're really dealing with having to get through lap traffic, at any point do you feel like some of these guys maybe just thinking about putting some bumpers to these guys, or just trying to get them out of their own way, or really they just kind of boil down to trying to be patient and just see what happens later on?
Yeah, I mean, we don't tend to use the bumpers here at mile and a halfs. I think last season, you know, me and Craig had a little dust up on the last lap where I used the bumper, but typically here we don't tend to do that. You know, that's more short tracks where you know the bumpers come into big effect. I think you know if somebody's slowing you up and you got to go, you know give them a little bump and run and you know let them go here. But you know mile and a halfs, I don't think we necessarily use the bumpers too much.
Well, right now we're gonna have to use a little bit of time stamp here because we're gonna have to stop the race for just a second because Jacob Givens has caused the caution to come out here. A little problems down there for the 20 Plan B sales, and those that went into pit road just a second ago now are gonna find themselves either in a real tough condition spot to get back out on the track as soon as possible, or they're gonna have to work their best around with what they worked with here. But let's take a look at the PTMS replay. Nevertheless, see what happened here to Givens, and it looked like maybe just a little bit of an overshot in the turn, or maybe just unfortunately found himself in there with Diamond. We see here. And, oh, yep, big time hit there with Diamond, unfortunately. And looks like once again, just could not get away from the added pressure and the added benefit of getting too close for comfort. And again, with how tight these trucks are, it's really kind of hard to keep the trucks safe and sound when really they just want to completely dive in and dive low instead of really, you know, loosen out and kind of be able to have that little dirt track mentality, which is you can save it from there.
Yeah, it you know kind of comes down to aerodynamics, and you know that's another reason we don't use the bumper here is because you know aerodynamics is plays such a big play, and you know especially at these big wild mile and a half, you know you get a little bumper damage, a little side damage, you know it hurts the side force, hurts the aerodynamics, which is you know at the end of the day going to make you slower. Where you know a short track you know, you have a little front bumper damage, you're missing the whole front end, you know, you're still going to be able to keep up as long as the motor's still at peak performance. So that's why we tend to, you know, keep clear of everybody, not use the bumper, you know, then too, when you get close, like on that last accident there, you know, it kind of sucks you in and, you know, could ruin your night, ruin somebody else's night. So we try not to, beat and bang too much at these mile and a halves.
That certainly hit a few drivers' nights here, unfortunately, just due to that one little error. So, yeah, it gives you guys a good idea of like what Eli's talking about here. Obviously, those bumpers they can be used well on short tracks, but these big tracks, like you said before, they'll try to stay away from them. But I mean, if you're Jacob Givens though, right now, knowing that you kind of caused that caution, you know, in a way, do you try to avoid anybody else, or do you just try to keep running your race? Because, I mean, I know as a driver, if something like that happens and didn't mean for it to intend to happen, I still want to go out there and race my tail end off, but I don't know. At that point, it almost seems like kind of somehow, some way, maybe pulling off a W, just it feels kind of a little disregarding, I guess, for me anyway, but I don't know how you would feel in that case.
I mean, accidents happen, you know, sometimes you, do you know things happen, you know you bump into somebody accidental, and I mean you got to keep running your race, you know you got to move on, forget about it, you know especially if it's early, you know late. I mean you can't dwell on it, otherwise you're just you're gonna be scared to pass people, scared to race people, and you're not gonna have the finish that you want. So you just kind of got to forget about it, you know, tell the guy sorry after the race, or you know under caution whatever, and you know just move forward. And that's the mentality you got to have.
Certainly is indeed, and I guess that's why they threw me in the booth and keep me off the track, because I guess I'm apparently a little too nice there. But that's why I said earlier, I'll put a bumper to anyone here on the short tracks, and I've done it to you before. I know that much.
Oh yeah, you've done that to me a time or two, but you know, hey, we it was all in good fun, and you know, we moved on, we had a blast, and that's all you got to do.
I mean, you gotta kind of have to have a little bit of fun out there when you're racing, because again, there's so many times you can take it seriously, you can take it in stride, but I don't know. To me, you still have to have like those moments where you just gotta like put the reins down, turn the car or truck on, and just have a little fun. Just enjoy yourself. And I guess in my case, we just open up a couple iced tea lemonades with some vodka sticked in there, and there you go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we these series didn't get the fast and fun names for any specific reason besides going out and being fast and having fun. That's one thing we kind of look forward to Monday and Tuesday nights. Racing trucks Monday and Cup on Tuesday. Unfortunately, I can't race trucks this season because of work, but definitely missing this series. It was a lot of fun. The last couple of seasons, I should say. And then I still get to go out Tuesday night and have fun with the boys. So it's all fun at the end of the day. We're competitive. We're serious. Sometimes a little too serious, but at the end of the day, we're not racing for millions or anything like that. We just put on a show for the fans, and Green Mountain Grills is sponsored the trucks now for 3 or 4 seasons, and then champions come aboard for 3 or 4 seasons on the Cup side. So we like to put a good show for those guys when they tune in and watch us. So.
Sure, there. And right now, I think we're about to be treated to a bit of a show here right at this moment, because Richard Fornshell last week at Michigan, he found himself on the receiving end of the old troublesome 3-wide salute, causing him a chance at victory. It would belong to Meyer there after having to deal with Sean Bounty for the last bit of that half. But now the shoe is on the other foot for Fornshell, but he's going to have to be up in the front half dealing with Matthew Moniak, who has not been in victory lane quite some time. We know he can get it done here in this series and on this track, but he's going to have a whole host of guys to cheat out in this way and in this position, because there's some names in here you would not expect to be up in that top half, like Kevin Ward and Quilp Forsyth, the NPR boys here, at least one of them representing the NPR guys, and one I believe that's just kind of being a little represented with the truck here, is literally in its possible driver's seat to knock down a few pegs and knock down a few reins. But the veterans are still in the top 10 here, Eli. I don't know really who to go with. This is a little too close for me to call.
Oh yeah, this is any a lot of new faces up there, a lot of familiar faces too. So I think we're about to put on a good finish here, as long as everybody can keep it clear.
I think we are about to indeed here. Off the restart zone, onto the gate. We're underway. Here we go. The intensity is just thriving. It can cut it with a knife. Richard Fornshell, huge start out of the gate. Kevin Ward now moving right up there with him. Forsyth trying to block down. And it looks like a Forsyth for Matthew Moniak. He's going to get the bumper we talked about earlier and get sent to the outhouse for this one. He manages to keep the truck on playing online while Steven Pless now moves right behind. Oh no, that's not going to help him either though. Big wreck ensues right behind the leaders. Huge wreck ensuing down on the front straightaway. 7-8 trucks involved in this one. Big wreck, and a caution flies high, and major change up in the draft and the form. And I think I may have thrown the broadcaster curse, Eli. I think I may have got these guys a little too bumper happy on those restarts.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're coming to 10 to go here, and you got to get everything you can get, because once they get spread out, it's harder to pass. So you got to get all you can get on the restarts. So I was kind of expecting a wild one there.
Well, we certainly were expecting that, then some and more. I think we got more than our money's worth. Look at this here. We'll take a look at the replay. This is what happened to Moniak. Just a slight indentation there. You see, right? I believe that was a Forsyth in 76. Just try to keep it off the 3-3. Was able to avoid him, but because he was getting a little close for his own liking, truck tightened up a little bit. Tried to back off. He overdrives it a little bit in turn 4. And at that point, gets that bump there from Pless, and everybody else gets kind of shafted in. They're trying to avoid him. Once the leader wrecks in front of you, there's just nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little loose off 4, and when you're tight pack racing like this is tonight, somebody gets loose in front of you, you just really don't have anywhere to go. With being that close, even jamming on the brakes, you're still going to bump them. You anticipate him holding it down and not getting loose. And, sometimes these trucks and with these setups, you tuck a truck up behind them and they just get arrow loose. And once they start sliding, it's hard to save them sometimes.
It certainly is indeed. And right now we're looking at this. The guys that were literally up at the top half last week are pretty much now down, dropped into the back of the pack here. Meyer, Janzik are all down there. Lawrence, Kilgore, and Diamond, they're farther down. And Moniak unfortunately finds himself on the wrong end of the wrong stick with that last restart. So a tough break there for him. The man beats William Jr., Sheldon Pearson, Armstrong, they're all down, unfortunately, and out. Some of the veterans still left in this, of course, there, like Marauder, James Harris, and then Caleb Forsythe even. Call him what you will, man, but Forsythe hasn't been to victory lane in quite some time, and he is looking to get that changed up today. And Stephen Pless, we talked about him earlier there, Eli. He said, point blank, I feel like this truck may be ready. It might be my night. He is certainly making me a believer right now because he's in the top 5 and looking to knock down a few more pegs and a few more drivers. But a little bit of a shocker here. A little bit of a 16, the Metallica Ford F-150s of Robert Wynn is also kind of finding a new win here and maybe finding a little bit of speed coming to the end.
Oh yeah, when we call him the old fuel saver. That guy can run more laps than anybody I've ever seen on a tank of fuel, and we'll see what kind of damage Plus got from running the back of Moniak there, and it looks like Harris somehow made it through the calamity of that last wreck, so. He's back up in 6th. He would be the one I'd have my eyes on. Honestly, he's hasn't had a win all season. He's very hungry. I definitely think he's going to be the one to have your eyes on.
He's surviving more calamity than Link survived from Calamity Ganon and Zelda Breath of the Wild, for crying out loud. How he's able to keep this thing under control and stay out of trouble is beyond me. But, I mean, he's had a lot of bad luck this season just alone. So maybe, I don't know, maybe the racing gods are trying to offer him a hand for just this race tonight.
Oh, yeah, he's seems like every week he's been wrecked or whatnot. So him getting through that wreck here with 10 to go here, I think things may have changed for him, and we'll see what happens here.
On the restart, we will have 9 laps left in this one. Right now, Nikki Coker rooting on her boy K-Dub in that 112. And then, of course, Jeffrey Lee Bell, he's going for his man as well, Stephen Pless. Well, there is a lot of fans right now watching here on PT Race TV wanting to see their favorite come out with the W, come out with the win. But only one may win in these races. We know all that too well. And this could get very interesting. That last restart, remember, we had a lot of guys trying to fight hard and fight quick to get up to the front. Now, if you thought that was crazy, now they're going to really start to push it because they know how many laps are left, and this could get very intensifying.
Oh yeah, this is going to be as crazy as the last one here. I hope they can keep it clean and green here. I think Kevin Ward's a little disadvantage on the outside there. I think anybody starting in second is kind of disadvantage. It's hard to see the truck on the inside there when they start, and that kind of bottles it up occasionally. My favorite position to start in is third because you know when the lead guy's going.
Well, we're about to find out what he can do with it, but on the restart, Ward managing to at least stay intact for a second place runoff, but Fornshell, a hard start, gets him way ahead, plus falling back just a slight bit here. Moving the chains around. Go ahead there, Eli.
Sometimes at these tracks too, getting a good jump is not good because, as you can see, the draft really sucks them back up. So you got to be careful about getting a big jump on the start too, because it could, at the end of the day, mess you up.
It can certainly mess you up and get you a little bit all centered off and into trouble zone. 4 wide surges for a brief fleeting moment there on the front straightaway. Drivers trying to maneuver around and get quicker through the field, and some of them finding a little bit more speed than the other. Daniel Half ended up getting a little bit of a tag and a half, I believe, there from the mullet man Robert Lawrence, or it may have been the 20 of Jacob Gibbons. Hard to tell from our angle down there, but we do know he got entangled with some of them. While 7 laps remain, though, it is Caleb Forsythe, the number 76, looking to try and put MPR back on the map and put him in victory lane here, but Forsythe will not give an inch to him. He knows if he's going to win this one out, he's going to have to fight for everything he's got, while the Marauder James Harris looks on from behind.
Yeah, Caleb's definitely changing up the old MPR mentality, which is mid-pack racing. Here looks like we got two of those guys in the top 5, and Harris is sitting back there in third, just licking his chops, wanting these guys to race side by side so he can get in there and maybe be able to steal one here.
Speaking of side by side, Forsythe finally getting a maneuver off Fornshell. Fornshell opens the door like a thief in the night. He strikes when the iron is hot. Forsythe takes the race lead for the first time tonight. And the Marauder is trying to gain up on it, but look at Fornshell. Gets a big push from the number 4, drafts him off to the bottom. And Fornshell with the heavy artillery, full throttle assault engaged. Does the final 5 laps come on? 5 remain here. Forsythe, Fornshell, gonna do war. Harris watching on, as you just said a minute ago here, Childs. And remember, you said as well that short run, their mentality may be coming in full effect. You said he was better on that short run. Well, he's gonna have to prove it here now with some blistering speeds on these last couple laps.
Oh yeah, he's definitely coming in here. We'll see what happens in these next few laps. He might just be saving a little bit to give it a good run here last lap or two.
He may be indeed here, but I will say he's going to need to watch those final 3 or 2 laps, I would say, because that's when you're going to really want to jump the gun and get ahead, because I feel like on a track like this, if they try to maneuver around you or maneuver off you, that could be a troublematic zone. You can see Fornshell doing exactly what I was saying here. He's trying to avoid the draft of that 76 Caleb Forsythe. He knows if that F-150 gets locked on target, it will be able to gain the draft and get a little bit of speed here, but now comes into question of the dirty air. We've seen it before here with literally what happened just a couple of seasons ago with NASCAR when Joey Logano managed to stay ahead of Kevin Harvick on this very same track. Harvick would get stuck into the bad air despite having maybe preferably the better car. Even Alex Bowman was catching up with them, but they could not be able to find a way to pass with these trucks here. Is they going to be able to get into that same predicament or that same spot? They're going to have to work around it, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I mean these things. Once you get in dirty air, it's as you can see, they just kind of stay in the same position. You got to kind of move where they're not to get that clean air and get your truck driving the way you want to. That's why I think Fornshell's been able to stay out front here.
Well, he's going to have to stay out front just a couple more turns and a couple more corners because the 2 to go represents the green flag flying high in the air this next time by. A white is traded in from the green. And right now we're seeing a little bit of all white on that because the 90 of Fornshell is going to take this one to the bank. White flag is out. Forsythe trying to hang on just a little longer. He knows Marauder's right behind him though. James looking for another podium finish, but I guarantee you he was looking for a win here on that last bit, but may have just faltered just a little too long and a little too late. Fornshell is just pushing this thing further and further ahead as he leads into turn 3, down into turn 4. Fornshell has not been here in a while, but tonight that changes again. The Surefeed 90 Chevrolet is taking it to victory lane at Kansas City. Forsythe will get second, third to Harris, fourth to Taylor, and fifth to Kevin Ward. An impressive showing by the top 5 here tonight with some faces in there you would not have expected, but nevertheless, this just goes to show you what kind of driving and mentality you can see on the Green Mountain Grill side of things. The Fast and Fun Series comes to town. What a race from start to finish.
Yeah, that was definitely a heck of a race. Happy for Fornshell. He's my Cup teammate on Tuesday nights, so hopefully maybe we can go back to back here and get us a good win tomorrow night too.
Certainly will be indeed. Cannot wait to see what goes down in New Hampshire, but I think for Fornshell right now, I think he just wants to soak this one in and maybe let this one just take a second to breathe because he hasn't been here in a while, so he's going to let those tires take a little bit of a burnout or two around here. We'll take a look at our Green Mountain Girls race results here in just a moment. Drivers getting all situated out and finished out, but what a race. From start to finish, this was just an absolute barn burner fight with a lot of long runs and a lot of great battles in between. But for Fornshell, it was all about making sure he timed his line, timed his pacing, and he manages to use the caution flags to his advantage. The truck just lasts out long enough and wins it out here with Forsythe coming away second. The Marauder James Harris coming third, fourth to Jason Taylor, fifth to Kevin Ward. Great showing again from him. Christian Wilcox once again just proving he can still put that thing in a bit of a fight into the zone. That win at Daytona certainly was not a fluke by any stretch of the imagination. Steve Clegg, I'm glad at least my broadcaster curse did not tamper with him too much. Coming away a nice top 10, 7th place for him. 8th to Tyler Meeks, 9th to Sean, the Bounty Hunter Bounty. And then Robert Wynn, impressive showing from him, comes away 10th. Really, based on that fuel strategy and that tire strategy alone, definitely helped him out in his case. But nevertheless, Childs, it's that time of day again. Let's bring him in. We gotta talk with some guys here. So start him up with our 3rd place finisher here tonight, the Marauder, James Harris. And James, I said earlier I would avoid talking with you too much because I know the curse was always looming around here somewhere.
Yeah, man, I tell you what, we had another rocket ship tonight, and that freaking caution coming out right when I pulled in my pit box just completely screwed us. If it had come out a second sooner, man, I could have just not pitted and gone on through and then pitted and stayed right behind Richard, but that got us behind a little bit there.
Certainly indeed. We were watching that on as well. We even said point blank that was going to affect a lot of you guys out there, and it certainly did for you. But on the last restarts, I mean, you were pretty much punching everything in between, giving it all you got. I just have to really ask you this: if you had maybe that second caution didn't come out, do you think maybe it would have been any different, or what do you think would have gone down to?
Well, I think if that caution hadn't have come out when we were pitting, I definitely think it probably would have been me or Kevin that would have won because our crew chief built us one hell of a setup this week, just like last week, and it was money, especially on the long run there. But you know what? The way this season's gone for me, with all the horrible luck I've had, dominating last week and getting wrecked twice, I'll be more than happy with the podium finish. We'll just keep this momentum going next weekend to Watkins Glen.
Certainly there, but nevertheless, though, it was a long run fight to the end and quite the race to be had. So, Harris, who do you want to thank here tonight for this one?
Before I thank anybody, I want to say the arrow push is real and it sucks. But I was faster than those guys there. I was looking at the telemetry those last 5 laps and I was a 10th faster, but the arrow pushed me. I just couldn't get to him. But let me thank Kevin Kirscher with Blackstone Management first and foremost. He's the main driving force behind both of our Fast and Fun leagues. Thank Champion Power Equipment, Blaster, AC Avalanche, Blue Spring Living Water, and the most important sponsor for me is my main sponsor for the truck series and on my truck, and that is Green Mountain Grills, the best pellet grills that your money can buy.
Absolutely. Well, nevertheless, here, Harris, appreciate your time here tonight. What a finish and a battle for you to the end.
All right, man. Thanks. We had an NPR guy finish second, so give him hell in the interview.
We've been giving him plenty enough on this here. We'll just give him a little bit more. But thanks for your time, bud.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yep. I come to think of it, I don't even think I was able to even bring in any of the NPR guys here tonight. But I am bringing this one in, ladies and gentlemen. Next in place here tonight, Caleb Forsythe, the number 76 driver, and Caleb. No longer NPR. I think you now have to call yourself the second NPR guy on the list.
Actually, if you average out our team finish there with 2 blown engines and some issues with the wiring going on there, it pretty much averages out to mid-pack.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep the nickname for you now. But nevertheless, you certainly lived up to the reputation of building up some speed and putting on some major runs and implications here. You pretty much gave it everything and then some to try to hang in there with those guys for that win. It ain't, but looked like the tires just took a little too much of a beating, and then the aerodynamics unfortunately just caught up to you there, didn't it?
Yeah, arrow pushing that is and it's major here at this track. And then our setup, it really played out almost perfect for us. If I could have had about 2 less laps to run, I think we could have really gave it a run for it. We had about a 10-lap car there, perfect scenario, which it played into our hands. Me and Kevin Ward, we couldn't ask for anything better as far as the way the cautions come out. But it was a fun race tonight.
It certainly was indeed. In Foresight, once again, a strong showing and a big finish for you. It's been a while since you've been able to do this, but who do you want to thank here tonight for this finish?
Man, first and foremost, NPR as a team. Those guys are awesome, fun to race with. We have a blast out here. Green Mountain Grills, Champion Power, all them guys, and just everybody that has something to do with this. It's an awesome league, a lot of fun to run in.
It certainly is, and it's a lot of fun to just come out here and call. So, Well, nevertheless, though, here, Caleb, congratulations on a second place finish here tonight. We certainly hope to see a little bit more of you in the future here.
Too, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, your second place finisher tonight, December 76th, Caleb Forsythe. All right, well, there is one driver that remains on the top of the mountain tonight, and for the first time in a while, it is going to be Richard Fornshell walking away with the W. Let's bring it down with the Freedom Mullet crew here. Let's have a listen in as he now joins us here real quick on PT Racing TV. There he is now, ladies and gentlemen, the driver of the number 90. This is your winner at Kansas Speedway. This is Richard Fornshell. And Richard, first off, congratulations, man. Definitely a long time coming back for you to get to this top of the mountain spot, and you had to work real hard just to even get this one, didn't you?
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's been a minute. I think Pocono. And definitely took a lot. Definitely a lot of luck for me. Kind of bad luck on James and Kircher's part for pitting right before the yellow came out. That yellow came out, and I was like, oh no. And then I realized I still needed to go and got around them before they could come off the pit lane. So, but yeah, towards the end there, Caleb, ran me down and had me scared for a moment. There were a couple of times he got beside me, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he was definitely putting a bit of a run on there, and there were quite a few times where it seemed like really it could have gone either way with the back and forth racing we saw a little while before even this moment came. But nevertheless, you still found a way to really charge up and really keep it ahead there from Forsythe. So with this now kind of in mind, the rest of the season, what does it mean to you to look forward to, and what is going to be your main goal then from there?
I mean, personally, I'm kind of hoping maybe this is a little bit of a monkey off my back. I know a lot of us in this league seem to kind of be really streaky. Well, a few wins, so maybe that. But no, if nothing else, best points day so far, and hopefully can keep the momentum going up on into the playoffs.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Fornshell obviously leading into the playoffs here in the few weeks to follow, but you are walking away with the W at last here at Kansas Speedway. So who do you want to thank here tonight for this one?
First and foremost, want to thank Green Mountain Grills for sponsoring us, letting us put on this league and all the fun racing that we do week to week, and as well as Champion Power Equipment, Kevin Kircher, and then all the admins for putting this on. They do a great job of keeping everything in line and keeping us going. And thank you for broadcasting us.
That's honestly, it was a pleasure to call this one, and I think a lot of folks were definitely interested to watch this one back and see how everything went down. So congratulations, Mr. Fornshell. It's great to see you finally back on the top of the mountain once more with Freedom Mullet Racing.
Yeah, it feels really good. Thanks, bud.
Enjoy it, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner here tonight in the 90, Richard Fornshell. And Eli wraps it up here tonight for our showcase and our racing here tonight. But a big thank you again to the Green Mountain Grills. Again, if you guys need the best wood-fired pellet grills on the market, there is only one brand name and trust, Green Mountain Grills. Visit them up on their website, greenmountaingrills.com, and check out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles so you know the latest product line in your local area. Really, I'm going to sign off here with this last question. Eli, are you ready for tomorrow at New Hampshire?
Oh yeah, we're ready. Everyone tune in. Tomorrow we got 2 races left in the playoffs. Had a little bad luck last week, so we're pretty tight there for the playoff run. So really need to have a good finish tomorrow night, but it should be a good show.
For sure there. So as we sign off here tonight, I guess my producers have informed me that somehow Thacker broke my firewall, so I guess prepare for a little video real quick to represent for tomorrow's Tuesday. So enjoy though, everyone. We will see you tomorrow night at New Hampshire.
The following announcement has been paid for by the NPR.
In a league known for close racing and exciting results, stand one team that is different. One team that has set the bar to average. That team is Mid-Pack Racing. When other teams win on the track, there is one team that wins in the after party. That team is NPR. So tune in Tuesdays, and watch NPR battle for their place on top of the bell curve. NPR, because 10th through 19th has a 1 in it too. MPR.